Hey everybody, Josh from SILCA here with an exciting new product announcement. Maybe not 100% of a new product, but is a new version of a product, and that is the new SILCA Sealant with Fiberfoam 2.0, also known as Injectable Fiberfoam. Stay tuned. So Fiberfoam 2.0, also known as Injectable Fiberfoam, I'm sure some of you out there are saying, but SILCA already makes the best sealant in the market at sealing large holes. Why are we updating and upgrading? Well, I'm sure some of you also know that original Ultimate Sealant with Fiberfoam 1.0 was pretty unique. It was not injectable through the valve, and therefore it had to be replenished using a separate replenisher product, and people just didn't like that, and quite frankly, people just didn't do it. And so we had a lot of sealant drying out. The Fiberfoam 1.0, the recycled carbon fibers were pyrolyzed to try to get them down to single fiber size, and that didn't always work, so we would get clumps of fibers in there. You can see in this image here the 1.0 versus 2.0. Part of what helped it seal large holes were these little clumps of fibers, but that also made it non-injectable. And also, it made it a slightly abrasive additive, quite similar to when brands put like glitter in there, and it can slosh around, and it can actually damage some of the soft PET, some of the more lightweight, low-pressure rim tapes through being slightly abrasive. So we have spent the last almost 2 years working on 2.0 with really two things in mind. You know, one, how do we get the fiber to be 100% single fiber strands? It took a lot of work, but we have gotten there. Again, you can see in the video, single strand fiber. It actually allows us to load at a slightly higher fiber volume than we could with the 1.0 version. The other thing was that tires, we've talked about tubeless versus tubeless ready. The market has gone tubeless ready, and in a tubeless ready tire, your sealant is the final manufacturing step that actually makes the tire airtight. And with our 1.0 version, we had the highest latex percentage of any sealant in the market, part of what helped it seal well. But as a result, if you had a high sidewall weeping tire like a Rene Hearse, some of the lightweight pan erasers, some of the lightweight WTB tires, you were actually losing a good percentage of the liquid solvent, or what kept the latex liquid, when you initially set up the tire. And so people would set the tire up and then not replenish, and then maybe your sealant life would only be a month or 6 weeks instead of the 3 months that we targeted. So we've really spent 2 years working on both the latex formula and the fiber. And what we've come up with is this. It's really the world's first natural and synthetic latex hybrid sealant. So 50% natural latex, which gives you the best sealing power, 50% synthetic latex, which gives you much longer lasting, greater durability, and much slower drying out. Then we've refined the way that we're chopping the fibers so that you get that pure single fiber, and that has allowed us, if you can see in the side of the bottle, to use a much higher fiber load. And so what that means is you still get the 7mm plus hole sealing. For those of you guys who caught it, Cycling Weekly did a sealant test. I think Tour Magazine Germany had a sealant test. SILCA Sealant was the only sealant ever to seal a 7+mm hole in both of those tests. Most of the competitors, topping out at 3, 4, I think one of them maybe did 5mm. I mean, we're almost 2mm larger hole. This will match that performance, but this also, we are guaranteeing 6+ months of life, even in hot desert, high altitude climates. For most people, you're probably looking at 9 to 12 months of lifespan on this in most typical climates. I've actually had early samples of this in my bike for over a year, and it is still liquid and will still seal a puncture if you stab it with a screwdriver or whatever. The other thing that the single fiber chop has allowed us to do is update our injector to this new design, and the sealant is now injectable. So what you want to do is pull this guy open. Comes with a little valve core tool in there, and then it has this snap-on hose that actually fits over the valve stem. And so if you have one of those injectors that has the skinny little hose that goes into the inside of the valve stem, this will plug that. Those types of injectors will not work. Similarly, you know, the carbon fibers do want to jam up on any corners or like complex flow areas. So if you have like a valve or a right angle or anything like that in your injector, it's probably not going to work. But with the straight through, this is a smooth flow. This goes on the outside of the valve, and you just have to pump slowly, and it will actually inject through the valve, which is super exciting. So, you know, when I think back to, you know, Fiberfoam 1.0, right, we ended up having over 60% of professional lifetime Grand Prix athletes on our sealant, almost none of them sponsored by us. Everybody just wanted the super sealing power. And, you know, at that level, I think as a race day sealant, I think our original product was quite good. You know, you're swapping tires with some frequency, the need to pour it in, you know, was not a big deal for most athletes because they have mechanics, but also they're swapping tires every couple of weeks. And so, you know, if it dried out in 6 weeks, probably not a big deal if you're changing tires every 3. I think we fixed all that. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. 2 years in production, and one of the things there that's so hard is if you want to say it lasts for a year, you need a year. Like I said, we've all been riding this stuff for 12 plus months. Our top athletes have been riding it for at least a year for most of them. This stuff has sealed some phenomenal holes in some major races last season that we weren't able to talk about, but you'll hear stories come this year. And then, yeah, so we've got 1 liter, half liter. This is a 12-pack of 65 ml. We have our own special injector for the product, and there you go. 6+ months guaranteed, 6+ millimeter hole guaranteed. Oh, and the bounty. As we said, we've got so many athletes on this. We've decided we are paying them to get flats. So any athlete using SILCA sealant that gets a flat will receive a $500 check from me personally for that flat. So keep an eye on that. We plan to keep everybody updated. I think it'll be exciting through the year to see how many flats people actually get. I think last year we had over 20 athletes on it and not a single flat that didn't seal through the course of the season. So let's see what happens. Anyway, there you go. SILCA Ultimate Sealant with Injectable Fiberfoam 2.0. Let me know what you think in the comments. Leave your questions below, and we'll follow it up in another video. Thanks for watching.